I know you said we wanted to jump right in because we have a lot of stuff to cover today. So, and lots of fun stuff. So, you know, the first thing to ask is what inspired Kegelbell?
Oh, yes. Well, so I come from a family of 5 girls, and I never heard of pelvic floor stuff, nevertheless. And my mother, having had 5 girls, unbeknownst to me, she had things like bladder leakage, bladder prolapse. Well, all I knew was one day she had some surgery called pelvic mesh, and as a result, she's like in crippling pain for the rest of her life. And so when I was saying, what happened? How did you end up like this? That's where she was telling me these issues she was having in the surgery. And I did some research because my background is in academia. And the research made me realize that, wow, most of us women have pelvic muscle weakness. And a lot of the options out there are not great. And so that's where I started to get involved. And what really pushed me over the edge to make Kegelbell, to quit my job in academia and start this company, was finding out how many women hold back from doing things they want because of the symptoms of pelvic floor weakness. They were saying they don't travel, or they don't go dancing, or they don't do the sports they want to do. So when I found that out, I'm like, okay, ladies, you're going to be doing that again. Let me get involved. And I haven't looked back, and no regrets. It's been a great, great time talking with all the women out there.
That's awesome. Now, what are Kegels, and like why are they so important for women's health?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. How is it that I went so long in life without knowing that and understanding that? Well, so Kegels, however you want to say it, totally legit to say it either way. It's an exercise that you use to strengthen the muscles of the pelvic floor. And let's just say in the instance of a woman, the pelvic floor is going to be like the vagina and that region, that area of the body. And it's important to strengthen them because there are muscles there for a lot of reasons. Those muscles have a job to do, basically, several jobs. One is those muscles are supposed to like hold back urine and feces and gas. Lots of people say bladder leakage, but there's gas leakage too, folks, and fecal leakage. We don't want to say it, but a lot of female athletes know very well about those issues when those muscles get weakened. There's also organ prolapse, like my mother had, where the bladder or the uterus starts to drop. A lot of us don't know it's muscles, and so we hear time to get a hysterectomy. Didn't know it's because the muscles weren't there. And then thirdly, let's talk about it here. You guys are very, open-minded. Sexual function. And so Kegels help the muscles, which help with sexual function. And we're talking laxity, lubrication, and orgasm. So Kegels work. You could just sit there and squeeze. Like I could do it right now. Okay. However, you're just isometrically like squeezing your bicep like this. Okay, great. What happens is women don't do it properly or often enough, therefore they don't get the results. So yes, they work if you could do it properly and often enough, but we could talk more about that component. But yes, they work. We know they work. Medical doctors are supposed to recommend it as the first line of treatment, and yet people aren't doing it and they're suffering.
So let's see it. And who's the Kegelbell for?
Yes, right. Okay, thank you for asking that, because people think it's a little lady problem, and that's not true. Okay, it is true that it gets worse over time, but I would like to say it this way. About 20% of 20-year-olds, 30% of 30-year-olds, 40% of 40-year-olds, and so on. Until you're in your 90s, and that's 90% of 90-year-olds. So that's why I think people think it's an old age problem, but think about it, 20% of 20-year-olds is a huge number. And those are, women or people with vaginas, if you prefer to have a larger category, I just shorthand say women, if they're young, if they're an athlete, definitely at any age, female athletes, because of the nature of their sport, the high impact nature, will have problems. If they've had a kid, if they have overweight, or sometimes, a lot of women in their 20s who just like disconnected from those muscles. Culturally, we're taught to like disconnect and not identify with those muscles, and they atrophy. And so atrophy can happen at any age. So I appreciate you bringing up that question, because it's not just a little old lady problem.
Yeah, now speaking of, is there a best place to do these exercises with the kettlebell? Is there a best time of day or time to do them?
Not time of day, but definitely place. And not Kegels in particular. I would talk about like, were you asking Kegels in particular or Kegelbell in specific?
With the kettlebell.
Oh, with the Kegelbell.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is what surprises people. It is a unique device. It is patent pending. So people think it's going to be like other devices they're familiar with. This one is only used 5 minutes 3 times a week in muscle building mode, and then just once a week in maintenance mode. So you're talking about 5 minutes, not a lot of time. And it needs to be done in a private place because of the unique design. And so most of our customers are choosing bathroom, bedroom, and I would say the shower is probably the most popular place. And that's because you kind of want to hook it into an already existing habit. And showering is kind of a thing that we do regularly. And then also busy moms tell me that's the only place they have a moment of privacy.
Ah, yeah, that makes absolute, yeah, really. You need to lock yourself in the bathroom to probably get away from the kids sometimes.
Yeah. So we have a shower holder for people who have to keep it in the shower.
I love it. I did actually see that on your website. I was like, that's really cool. That's smart. Yeah. Now, how does one use the kettlebell?
Okay, yeah, it is, and I have to explain because it is unique. So the Kegelbell kit, I decided I wanted to put all the parts in there so that people don't have to buy things separately. And so this will get any person who buys it enough exercise. So we start out with 2 inserts. They don't use them both at the same time. They choose. And how do they choose? There's a bigger one and a smaller one. And depending, like if they've had a lot of babies, they may need to start with the bigger one. If they haven't, they could maybe start with the smaller. The cool thing is a lot of our customers start with the big one. When they get strong enough, they can start using the smaller one. So they insert this small one, let's say for a case, there's just a small piece right here like they would a tampon. It's very comfortable. It's a very familiar feeling. It's not a big deal. And this may be enough weight, but as they get stronger, they add weights. And so you can see this little weight dangling right here. So they're standing. They're standing while they're using it. And this part is outside the body. And that's what makes it unlike anything else and is confusing to me. Not to me, to other people. This part's inside the body, all the rest is outside the body. And you use it standing because like gravity is going to make it want to fall out.
Right.
And then you stack the weights to add more weight. And then it gets quite heavy. So what's happening is gravity's trying to pull it out, and your muscles, like just reflexively, the perfect muscles kick in to hold it in, which is great because what that does is it removes the guesswork. Your body just reflexively does it. And because you have weight, it's much less time. So not kegling 3 times a day, every day, just, you know, in maintenance mode once a week for 5 minutes. And that's the power of weight.
Now, I know that you mentioned the movement even, so obviously it's not a static thing, so the movement also helps with the exercise. How so?
Right. Yeah, let's geek out on that. Okay, so how is it different? Most people might be familiar with like a yoni egg or a jade egg or a Kegel weight, and that's just this part, and it's put inside the woman or in the vagina, let's say, rather. And that's not what's going on here. We've got this whole piece here and this piece here, and as a result, so Kegelbell, even if you just look at the dead weight and measure it, we're twice as heavy as any vaginal weight kit out there. But the fact that it's hanging from this dynamic cord means that little movements like that when you're standing create dynamic forces that multiply this weight. And then if you put on shoes and you really want to give yourself a workout and bounce it, then you're getting a 4 times multiplier.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So now it's many, many times heavier, but I don't say that to scare people. It's absolutely comfortable. It doesn't hurt at all. Why heavier matters is you're working out more effectively, therefore faster, therefore less time and getting better results. And that's why it matters.
That's awesome. Now, how did you decide on the design of the Kegelbell and then also the materiality? I know that's really important to you. So can you tell us more about that?
Yes, that was everything. And boy, did that delay, you know, production. So what I love about Beta is that you guys support these small, you know, independent inventors like me. I mean, I invented this on my own without any resources, okay, and wanted to do it right because I got involved because I cared about women's health. So I wasn't going to be like some other devices that are on the market that use cheaper toxic plastics. Some of them have like little doodads and little decoration to make them cute for the ladies. And all that is adding toxic materials, difficulty cleaning, and problems like that. So for me, it was a big, big deal that we sourced, it's called USP Class 6, a very technical term. It's to say that it's understood in the industry to be medical grade. And so we use medical grade silicone and coloring. I want to say that because I was talking with the manufacturer about multiplying the expense by many degrees to use USP Class 6. And then they're like, and the coloring? I'm like, what do you mean? You have to put in, you can't ruin it by putting in USP coloring. So we also had to put in USP Class 6 coloring. I just, you know, you really have to watch because people don't make those decisions in the business world. And when you do, you have to really advocate for it and push every step of the way. And then we use a zinc alloy for the stuff that's outside the body. So that took time, a great deal more expense. I have to say, before I did this, I was very naive about manufacturing, and I thought everything in the world cost 10 cents to make. I don't know why. I just thought, I don't know where I thought this or heard this. And that some people just charge more for a luxury item and some people charge less. Well, I didn't know that if you make decisions like I did, the material cost and the production cost and the mold making is crazy, which is why you don't see often people like me trying to make this happen.
Now, we had a great question here. Carol Me asked, how young can a user be to actually start using this?
Mm-hmm. It is true that teenagers that are athletes will run into trouble with their pelvic floor. I hope they're seeing a pelvic floor therapist who's well recognized to help with that. And we work with physical therapists, and so they could recommend our product. Anyone over age 18, I would say, buy it. Try it. We have a refund policy. Just go for it. It may well help you. And that's why it was so important for me to get that out there. You don't have to arrange for expensive doctor's appointments, and you don't have to try to find these specialists. They're very hard to find. You can buy it, try it. There's no way you can hurt yourself.
Okay.
And if it doesn't work, then you weren't a candidate for it. And then we have the refund policy because we know it's going to work for almost everyone. And so we're able to do that.
That's awesome. Now, you start using it. How soon do people start seeing results?
Oh, that's the best part. Yeah, I know. So when people think of exercise, they think, oh my God, so it's going to be 3 months, 8 months, 2 years before I see anything. Not the case here. You know, these muscles were designed to do these jobs. They want to do it. And so what we're finding out is within 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And that's very consistent. We survey our customers all the time. It's also true if you go to a pelvic floor therapist and they're helping you get strong. The medical studies show 2 weeks is like kind of that marker. So 2 weeks, you're going to start to get results. It may just be less leakage, more strength, more squeeze, but some people are writing me that their leakage went away entirely in 2 weeks. And I'm just like floored. Or their sexual, you know, objectives were met. But I can definitely say, if it's going to work for you, you're going to start to notice something within 2 weeks. And then you will probably work out however you want, 3 months to get to your maintenance level, and then you're just once a week for 5 minutes. That's it.
Now,
strong for the rest of your life.
We have a question here. How do you know if you should be maintaining or building muscle?
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, to which I would say, anyone could be stronger, right? Okay. And also, yeah, so I'd say we're all candidates. You know, I go to the gym.